But the problem is you've got to read or hear it in your language, and that has to be translated from the original manuscripts or the original languages, not original manuscripts. We don't have original manuscripts. We've got ancient manuscripts that date very close to the originals in some cases. But we need to translate it from the original languages, which are Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. And fortunately, an enormous amount of literature or scholarship has gone into this, not just in Christian circles, but in the secular academic world. And the secular academic world doesn't necessarily have a particular systematic theology they want to support. So they're just looking at it often more objectively than sometimes maybe an academic scholar might, who's a Christian. Now, I need to say, in fairness to the academic Christian scholars, I find that they're probably at least as objective, just as objective as the secular world, and in some cases, maybe more so. So it's for New Testament, for example, let's take that. So you have a bunch of books of the New Testament, all written in Greek, first century Greek. We might call that Koine Greek. So what do those words mean when you're doing a translation? And by the way, the Bible is not a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. You know, we didn't translate the New American Standard Version 2020 edition from the 1995 edition, which was translated from the 1972 edition. We didn't do that. Each time, a good peer-reviewed translation is translated right from ancient manuscripts, hopping over thousands of years of biblical history, but from ancient manuscripts. And some of our best New Testament manuscripts for the whole New Testament, Codex Vaticanus, Sinaiticus, and Alexandrius, are all 4th and 5th century texts, dating from 325 AD to maybe 425 AD, roughly. So the question is, what do these words mean in modern English? And so fortunately, there's a lot of other first century writings circulating around out there as well. So the scholars, they're not just limited to how was the word used in the Bible. They also can look at how it was used elsewhere at the same time to get what did this word mean when they was said to the first century people who understood Koine Greek at the time. Bottom line is this, is that we can be pretty confident most of the time that the words that we see translated in our English translation are accurate translations of what was there originally. But a lot of times it's still helpful to look up the lexicon, because you'll see 2 or 3 nuances of that word. And sometimes it's just not possible. There is no English word. And so you have to use, maybe you'll see in the New American Standard 2020 edition, you'll see words in italics. What that means is that those italicized words are not actually in the original Greek. But the original Greek was saying something that this is the best way you can translate it to English. So you've got these 1 or 2 extra words here. They've put it in, but just so you know, it's italicized.
If you think that the translators are sitting at a table going word by word, just going, okay, this is what the Greek word is. Okay, let's put the English word down. You don't know how translations work. It's really about meaning. They may have to tweak things to make it work, and that's often where when Corey's talking about contradictory and confusing text, sometimes some of those things that seem like contradictions aren't contradictions. It's just that's a translation problem where we don't exactly know what some of the things were in the original text.
That raises another problem. It could be due to that, or it could be due to that Western mentality that we have in the 21st century.